State regime media known as Fox News was panicking on air. They really have nowhere to go with their outright embracing of Donald Trump's plummeting presidency. So here's what they do. They just endorse violence. Watch Laura Ingraham celebrate ICE beating a Democratic congressional candidate in Chicago. Play this clip.
A Democrat congressional candidate who was thrown to the ground by an ICE agent. Good work.
So they do that, endorse violence, then they go in their little cocoon and then they play the victim. Also on state regime media known as Fox, they had Dana White from UFC talk about the plans to turn the White House into a UFC arena that we, the taxpayers, I guess, are going to pay for UFC fights at the White House while Americans can't afford homes or rent and grocery prices are going through the roof and healthcare is being taken away. But folks, the UFC will be doing fights in the White House as they build golden ballrooms and Donald Trump gallivants over in the UK with King Charles. That's what they're doing here. Play this clip.
So we want to reveal these schematics, these pictures, and first show the White House South Lawn. You know, it's a big, sprawling kind of grassy area in front of the White House there on the south side. And then this is what it will turn into for UFC with the octagon in the middle. How many seats there? What is the plan?
Well, we're still playing with that. It's going to be under 5,000 people. You know, it depends on how much the lawn can hold. You know, as far as weight, the octagon itself weighs 15,000 pounds. So we don't know. We're still working it out. And my vision for this thing is we have this big arch, as you can see, with the lighting grid, because what I want is the White House on the back. And then when you shoot, when the fight goes around to the other side, you'll see the Washington Monument.
Yeah, we'll keep scrolling through. There's another shot from the side, and you can kind of see the grand scope of this, the next one in the slide. And there you see the fighters kind of walking in, and there's the backwards look. I mean, it's a massive operation right there.
Next up, you had MAGA Republican Kellyanne Conway compares Jimmy Kimmel. I think she compares him. Tell me what you think here. To the shooter of Charlie Kirk? Is that what she's doing here? I mean, it's just so despicable. And then she lies about what Jimmy Kimmel said. This guy Kimmel is twisted and ignorant, she said. No, he's not. He's actually enlightened and smart, and he's a comedian, and he was very circumspect with what he said, unlike Fox hosts like you and others who called for one of the co-hosts called for euthanizing, killing homeless people, involuntarily euthanizing homeless people. In the first clip I showed you, praising ICE for beating to a pulp human beings. Cruelty's the point with Fox. Fascism is the point with Fox. What a despicable network this is. Here, play this clip.
And Jessica, this all started for a very simple reason. Kimmel lied. He lied on behalf of ABC and Disney that this assassin is, quote, one of us, meaning one of MAGA. This guy is like Kimmel. Twisted, ignorant, unfunny, savage.
But it's up to his employer to decide what happens, not up to Brendan Carr.
No, Brendan Carr didn't do this. No.
He's gloating about it. He's using gifts of Jack Nicholson in the office.
You're using a nexus that's not there.
That's not true. And by the way, it happened on Betty Johnson's show.
No. He suggested that, but the affiliates did what they wanted to do. And this is a business decision and it's a moral decision.
You know, and the despicable network gets more despicable. Here's Trey Gowdy. Looks like a character of I don't even know what, but former MAGA Republican Congress member. And he goes, you know, Jimmy Kimmel, you don't have a constitutional right to have a television show. True. No one has a constitutional right to have a television show. But you know what you have a constitutional right to have, Mr. Gowdy? It's a First Amendment right not to have the government interfere with your speech and get you fired. And that's what's happened here. We heard Donald Trump saying he wanted Kimmel fired. We've heard Donald Trump say it is illegal to make jokes about him and criticize him. We've heard Brendan Carr, Trump's agent, the commissioner of the FCC, mock the firing of Kimmel and say that this was the first shoe to drop, more to come. He's going to go after The View, Jimmy Fallon, and others. You see, that's where it violates the Constitution. Maybe Congressmember Gowdy turn Fox host, you may want to read the Constitution, huh? Here, play this clip.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty simple-minded guy, Brett. You have a First Amendment right to say what you want. You don't have a First Amendment right to a show on ABC or Fox or CBS. So this conflation of the First Amendment, look, Jimmy Kimmel, you don't have a constitutional right to have a television show. And if ABC wants to suspend you because you got wrong the assassin of Charlie Kirk, more power to them. That's got nothing to do with the First Amendment. That's a business decision.
Oh, then they bring on Lara Trump, and Lara Trump goes, this isn't about cancel culture, but this has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Jimmy Kimmel has been horrible to him. Conservatives for years. He makes fun of me. He makes fun of how I look. You can't take jokes. You can't take people making fun of you. You can't take jokes about people making jokes about how you look. I mean, are you that thin-skinned? I mean, what do you live in $1 million homes? You are the most entitled human being available. Real Americans are suffering. And you're up there upset that comedians are making jokes about you. This whole family, this whole Trump family and Trump affiliates, they're the most pathetic, thin-skinned, weak human beings in the world. They can't handle a joke. You think these people can handle Putin if they can't take a late night comedian doing a joke about the way they look? While real Americans are suffering, while real Americans, again, can't afford stuff, while real Americans are worried their health care is going to be taken away, you can't take a joke about you? Wow. We don't care, Lara. Here, play this clip.
Laura, what do you make of the Democrats' new strategy? Now turning Jimmy Kimmel into their 2025 martyr.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about the fact that this is where they're putting their energy again, it's just more of the same from the Democrats. They continue, Laura, to go down the wrong path and to talk about the things that the American people don't care about, really. When are they making anyone's life better by obsessing over Jimmy Kimmel? I think my brother-in-law, Don, said it best. He said, this isn't about cancel culture. This is consequence culture. I mean, my gosh, this has nothing to do with Donald Trump not agreeing with anything Jimmy Kimmel said or not liking it. Jimmy Kimmel has been horrible to my father-in-law, our entire family, conservatives for that matter, for years. He's made fun of how I look. This is not a nice guy, but that has nothing to do with any of this, Laura. This is, of course, a business decision made by ABC News.
Next up, you have Fox host Campagno. She's next to Waters, and she's like, this is kind of like Tom Brady and Deflategate. You see, Jimmy Kimmel, it's like Deflategate. What are these idiots even, Deflategate? What does that have to do with Jimmy Kimmel not saying anything offensive at all, and then the FCC stepping in and threatening affiliates to lose their license because Donald Trump doesn't like Jimmy Kimmel doing jokes about him? And after Donald Trump got Stephen Colbert fired first, he then got Kimmel fired, and now he says he wants to get The View fired, and then he wants to go and get Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon fired. This is ridiculous. Again, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, Democrat, Republican, Independent. This right here is outright fascism, and it's just loser behavior. This is how losers behave, in my opinion. Here, play this clip.
Disney was the one to do that. If they should be mad, they should be mad at Bob Iger.
And that's right. That's why it's so laughable to me that this is anything other than an employee-employer dispute that one should see is inarguably an employee that has misbehaved. We all remember Deflategate. We all remember Tom Brady and everyone's freakouts about the suspensions, but that's an actual union contract that dictated per precedence that yes, there's accountability and there's a certain sentencing that occurs when an employee misbehaves.
Yeah, and then what? They pushed out and fired the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia because the U.S. Attorney wouldn't prosecute New York Attorney General Letitia James because there was no evidence to do so. Play this clip.
The U.S. Attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia has resigned just now. We talked about this earlier. The president wanted him to resign. He said it was because some Democrats supported him. Others had been saying that it's because he's not going after a case on Letitia James, the Attorney General in New York.
I want to go back to what Jessica Tarlov from Fox said she's the only voice of reason there. She's like, look, you want to know the truth? After Charlie Kirk was killed, Democrats said all the right things that all of us felt. That this has no place in society. We condemned it. We were responsible. Kimmel condemned it. We all condemned it. And if you were in a position of leadership, you condemned it. Don't go and talk about some randos on social media that don't speak in leadership roles. But with Republicans, their leaders were the ones saying civil war, the libs killed them, the libs did it, trans furry liberals did the ones who did it, go after them, this is liberal radicalization. They're the ones the leaders on the Republican Party lied, while leaders in the Democratic Party, I just call it pro-normalcy community at this point, were condemning it. That's the dynamic that was taking place. Here, play this clip.
Democrats said all the right things that all of us felt about that it was tragic, that violence, political violence has no place in our society. And we were met with, this is your fault and we are at war.
And here's what Jessica Tarlov says about the move to rewrite what Jimmy Kimmel was saying. Play this clip.
There's been this move today to rewrite the story of how Jimmy Kimmel ended up being indefinitely suspended, to absolve Brendan Carr of his role in this and the government's larger role in it. But the timeline just doesn't add up. I've heard, well, read the Hollywood Reporter and read the Wall Street Journal on this. I looked through all of it, and the common denominator is that Brendan Carr said to Benny Johnson, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. And the affiliates, who were already freaking out about it for sure, decided then that they were going to pull it. And so ABC and, Disney in general, Bob Iger, had no choice but to do it. There are some smart Republicans that are cautioning them to come back from this line. Ted Cruz, of all people, who's the chair of the Commerce Committee, which actually has oversight over the FCC, said what Carr said there is dangerous as hell. That's right out of a mafioso. When it's used to silence conservatives, we will regret it. We should denounce it. So I understand now we don't live in cancel culture. It's just consequence culture. And you think an eye for an eye is a good solution to everything. That's what I've seen pelted at me about this. Well, you did this, you did this, you did this. That is not a way to run a free society. And you can't just trample on the First Amendment because something tragic and horrible happened.
More from that Campagno. Here, play it.
I look at this simply as not only a business, but also as an at-will employment. And at the end of the day, if we are responsible for accuracy on air, and we are responsible, as we have learned many times over in the courts, for what our guests say also. So if you combine the two, the point is it's not just entertainment. There's no expectation or entitlement to employment if you are inaccurate and if you aren't serving your viewership.
And here's what Congress member Chaffetz turned Fox host had to say. Let's play it.
They are all about coexistence. They're all about tolerance. They're all about the First Amendment, unless you disagree with them. And if you disagree with them, guess what? They want you suppressed. They're the ones that came up with this office of disinformation that they were trying to thrust upon us so they could be the sole arbiters of what you could and couldn't talk about. These people, I'm telling you, they are evil in the way they treat our Constitution.
Oh, and while we're at it, the Social Security Administrator went on Fox with Maria Bartiromo and talked about raising the age for Social Security. Play it.
So would you consider raising the retirement?
I think everything's being considered.
And
will be considered.
And then you need Congress to.
Yes. They have to. It needs really to be the trustees, which are the four of us, myself, Treasury Secretary, Labor Secretary, HHS, the White House, which is completely committed to protect and preserve, and then Congress. And that's where the real work will happen, and that'll take a while. But we have plenty of time.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. Thank you for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.